So hopefully you have watched the first video about the second grade Common Core math program. This video will show you how to view results of your students' diagnostic tests. So first, of course, click on the Common Core Grade 2 icon. And so the first tool to view is called View Diagnostic Test Results. So I'm going to click on this. When you click on it, you'll see the option to view scores by standard or by student. Here, I can click on a standard and see how all students scored on that particular standard. So let's go down to 2.nbt.b.5. I'll click on this. And you can see we need some work as my class as a whole, and although I've only had 4 test students take it, we scored only 3 out of 8. This tells me that this particular standard may require reteaching. It also shows how each student performed on the standard, so I can see where there were outliers. Okay, so if I sort by student, I can get a detailed breakdown of how each student performed on each standard. So I'm clicking on students here. I remember the student who just took the test was here. I'm going to see his records. Test 1. And you can see, if you remember correctly, there were 15 questions. So not every standard could be recorded, but you see how he did on this 15-item test on each of the standards. You can see he did great on 2.oa.b.2 and a couple places where he got 0 out of 1. I can see it's not a great sample size here, but I could start to get an idea of where the reteaching needs to happen. If I click on View Standard Details, you can see how each student did in comparison on each standard. And you can see for this particular standard, obviously, we would need work. But perhaps my favorite tool is the Advanced Statistics tool. I'm just going to go all the way back to My Extend Programs, to Common Core Grade 2, and click on Advanced Statistics. Here's the exact test I assigned. Actually, it's a combination of a couple tests that I've assigned. And it will show you the breakdown of scores on each item. This is great to show students on a projector and to review difficult concepts. As soon as it loads here, I'll show you. So you see here there are 37 total questions that have come up in my students' diagnostic test. And this is 37 rather than 15 because I've changed it, from time to time. This is why I think it's good to not randomize the items on the test, because this makes this tool much more meaningful when all of your students have the exact same answers. But you see, so for each item, it'll show me exactly how the students as a whole did. So for this particular question on 2.oa.a.1, you can see that students answered correctly. 0 out of 1 answered this correctly. And for this particular item on 2.oa.a.1, 0 out of 3 were answered correctly. And you can see this is great for projectors. You can just put this up on your whiteboard and show students how the class as a whole did on each item. And you can see we could go through all 37, but I won't. Anyhow, so this is really, I think this is my favorite statistical tool. Okay, so by the way, you don't have to wait for your students to take the diagnostic test before deploying recordable activities and games to them. You might have noticed that there are many options right here, under the diagnostic test. These are packages of interactive activities that in many cases include online practice and games. So if I click on a particular standard that I would want my students to practice, let's say I wanted them to practice, I don't know, let's do 2.md.1.a. I click on it, and it says measure the length of an object by select. It shows me the standard, and then it shows me one of the practice worksheets. If there's one practice worksheet that goes along with this particular standard, and there's a game called Measurement Workshop. Soon there'll be videos to show you what happens in each of the games, so you can determine whether or not the game is something you'd want your students to play. So if let's say, okay, before I want my students to practice this particular standard, so I take it and drag it to the to be deployed space, and I pick the student students or classes I want to deploy it to. And then I just click Deploy Now. And there it is. So let's log out and log back in as that student so you can see how this part works. Okay, so let me type this one. Okay, and you see this student has taken the diagnostic test before, and based on the results of the diagnostic test, some standards packages are automatically deployed, those of which the student performed poorly on. So let's find the one that we just deployed, which is 2.md.1.a. Let's take a look at what a practice exercise looks like. Okay, so you see here, the student has taken this one time, and this is where all the statistics come up. And teachers and students can access these. So basically all I do is answer the questions. Some of them are multiple choice, some of them are different exercises are multiple choice, some are fill in the blanks. This one just has drop-down menus. Others are also drag and drop. So essentially all I do is answer the questions. And you see I'm trying to do this fast, just trying to show you the feel of it. Okay, so be careful here. This is 4 centimeters. This was definitely not right. Okay. So now I go check, and I got 100%. And the statistics here automatically display. I played it twice. I spent 1:46, and you can see the rest of the statistics. I have also mastered this skill. You can graph the progress here. You can see I've done it twice, both times 100%. If I go back one page, I'll show you the game that comes with it called Measurement Workshop. And you see there's 2 modes to this. And these do not record scores, but these are just good reinforcement games for students to play. If you buy Total Access Math, then all of these games come with all sorts of score recording ability. So let's say I want to do I don't know, let's try the play mode. I can select whole numbers, whole and half numbers, decimals, or fractions. Let's say for 2nd grade, I'm just going to do whole and half. And basically all I have to do is see, okay, this is 10.5 centimeters. This one looks like it's 3 inches. Some of them are standard, some of them are metric. This is 1 inch, and I check each time too. Correct? Correct. Oh, I went right. I went too high. This is 0.5. This one, and so on. So I can, this is just kind of a cool way to, it's meant to be like a little city, and students have to measure the heights of each of the buildings. If I go back one page and try the other mode of this, the build mode, I can build my own city. So let's do whole and half numbers, and let's say I want to do a metric ruler. I want the ruler color to be blue, and you see I can sort of just experiment with, metric and standard systems. This is just one of the games. So anyway, this is about a wrap on the Common Core Grade 2 system. I hope you find it useful. I hope these videos were helpful. As always, if you have any questions, email me. I can return emails, normally within an hour.